Welcome to the January 13th edition of the Crowns Way video newsletter. I'm your host, Kyle Roscoe, Director of Media with Crowns Way Racing. And to my right, of course, is the managing partner, Tony Rollo. Tony, lots of big updates and a big weekend coming up for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Exciting to just get some horses back in the starting gate. We had a lot of horses on break, and so we had a lot of time with no racing. I've been a little bored the last couple months, but hopefully luckily the Bears have at least kept it somewhat interesting around here, and now we can get back to running horses.
Yeah, and for you Chicago partners out there, obviously you guys all know how exciting that season has been. Of course, guys, you can follow us over on our X handle, which is at Crownsway Racing. Or if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email Tony. That's scrolling on the bottom of the screen right now, Anthony Rollo at crownswayracing.com. Again, questions, comments, concerns, anything like that. You can also DM that Twitter handle, again, at Crownsway Racing, or I guess X handle is what I should say. Still getting used to that, as I feel like it'll never get out of the Twitter ranks. But Tony, again, we're going to start basically a new segment. We've been doing it every time, but we're going to finally came up with a name. We're going to go down the shed road, Tony. Lots of fun stuff coming from not only the horses that are, like you said, getting back into racing and out of training, but also pin hooking as well. Lots of big updates for all the horses in the barn.
Yeah, so we'll start off with what probably is the headliner. Managing Mischief has been sold. She didn't have any injuries. We were bringing her back from the layoff. She had her first race. We were ready to run her back again, and we got a call of someone wanting to use her as a broodmare. So she'll transition to the next life. Her next life as being a mother, and yeah, the offer was too good to pass up at $35,000 for her. Just we felt like that was the right move for us.
And the fact that we had her where she could probably compete right in racing, which is that $10,000 claimer, and you get that call for 35,000, Tony, when you're most likely with her type of pedigree, like you said, for a broodmare, but also her racing ability, she most likely would have been claimed for 10K anyway in that race.
Yeah, I mean, the way we were looking at it is we were pretty confident she was going to win, and she was going to get claimed. In that position, we would have cleared, I think, somewhere around like $34,000 for. But this way, we got 35,000, and we didn't have to risk a bad start or something, and her not winning the race. So, and it's always nice to see these horses that have had a good, successful careers at the track get an opportunity to become a broodmare and pass on their legacy to the next generation of racing.
No, and absolutely. And before we got Mischief, Tony, I mean, she was very well met. I mean, she ran down in Florida. If you look her up, you look her name up, she actually has Kentucky Oaks articles written about her. So
Yeah.
the fact that, like I said, a horse like that gets the opportunity to be a mom and hopefully, like I said, pass on those genetics to her progeny was always a good thing. And obviously, who she's going to, right? Instead of claiming anyone can claim her, she's going to a good home as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So obviously, Managing Mischief, the headliner, Tony. There's a couple others that we want to go through, but before we get into our big races as well.
Yeah, so Silver Run Ready from Select B. We've also decided to pull the plug on her career. She's just one that's not holding up to the rigors of training. She'll be going into the Fasig-Tipton January digital sale, which is, I believe it starts on the 15th, with her being sold somewhere around the 20th. Luckily for us, she has really filled out and become a very good looking horse. And being that she is a more than ready, she'll be sold as a broodmare prospect, and she'll be going to the breeding shed sometime in the spring as well. So it's good that with horses like Managing Mischief, where she was stakes placed, and a horse like Silver Run Ready, where she has the more than ready on top, those horses, especially them being female, they do hold some residual value. So hopefully we can get a good price for Silver Run Ready like we did for Managing Mischief, and we're just kind of getting a little leaner and meaner in the stable.
Yeah, and of course, when you get into those types of horses, obviously, Tony, Silver Run, I think was 40,000 if I remember off the top of my
I
head.
believe
Something
it was the RNA'd, and we bought her for 50, I think is what it was. I know
so
it was under 50 because she was one of the selling points that she was eligible for those maiden restricted
Right.
races.
Right, exactly. So but that's the gamble, right, Tony? You're getting these 40,000, and it's just something that happens in racing a lot of the time is sometimes they just don't make it to the racetrack, whether that's injuries or again, like you said, just not holding up in training where
Mhm.
Kelsey wants her to be. And again, but you mentioned that residual value, having that really nice breeding could turn a nice profit, hopefully, for the partners.
Yeah, at least get a fraction of what we spent on her
Right.
back, and we took the shot. And that's something we'll be talking on later episodes of this video newsletter is just the current state of the 2-year-old market and not really getting the bang for the buck that we've been looking for and that we've kind of grown accustomed to. The Smokin' Jays for 70,000, the Minnesota Moneys for 60,000, even the Purse Thief for 50,000. Those kind of deals just don't seem to be there right now. Um, every horse is selling through the roof at pretty much sales all over the place, which is a good transition to the pinhooking group because in that scenario, we will be the
Right.
seller, so we can hopefully take advantage of this very, very high market.
There's two sides to the market, Tony. And
Yeah.
of course, obviously, the nice thing is now with the expansion of the pinhooking group, you now have the ability to be in both sides
Yeah.
of that market. Obviously, again, we'll continue to talk about that as Tony hinted in a couple newsletters as we continue to roll out 2026 for Crownsway. But Tony, lots of very good things in the almost bigger half of the barn, I would say. Shards is working every single week. He's getting closer and closer to coming back at Turfway. But not only that, there's two horses in this weekend that are probably the top half of the barn, if not the top three
Yeah.
in the big barn coming down at Fairgrounds. But before we get into that, Tony, I want to head on over to Gulfstream Park, where on Thursday, January 15th, of course, we're recording this on the 13th, we have part of one of the
Select
early
B.
series. Select B. Is it Select B for Buck?
Oh no, I'm sorry. No,
Yeah.
the Bucks Howl is in F.
F, right. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what one of the series before Select B, Series F, as I bring on the screen right now, the Equibase morning line for Bucks Howell's race. It is a maiden claiming 17,500. It is race 2 on Thursday, January 15th. The post time for that is 12:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As I bring up the Equibase, you can see we're actually second choice, Tony, on the morning line, only behind Herb Street, which fantastic name, unfortunately, for a horse that's dropping in for 17.5. Raced on turf last time, an absolute no-show. This looks like a complete drop for the
And
two.
a very quick drop to the maiden claiming ranks for a horse that probably was pretty well intentioned by them.
Yep.
So
That's what I mean. So with Buck, obviously Micah hops back aboard in here, looks every bit the part, and realistically, in a group that's probably not very good, to be completely honest, he could easily be the favorite in this race. I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah, we really didn't know what to expect his first race at Gulfstream. He had been a disappointment in Kentucky and the Gulfstream race, or in the Pennsylvania race.
Yep.
But since he's been gelded, he has become a lot more focused on his work. He's so much better of a training horse, and we're going to take advantage of it and see how he looks in here. I think we got as big a shot as anybody in here. Like I said, Herb Street. I just don't like when they give up on a horse that quickly. It's got to be telling you,
especially with those connections. That's
yeah.
a big sign as well.
So I think we fit the bill in here, and I think we go into this race with a very big chance.
I completely agree. Also, not to mention that work last time for Buck, 46-2 at Palm Meadows is a very, very quick time. Obviously, down in South Florida, where actually I'm positioned right now, we haven't gotten much rain. Palm Meadows is actually only like 20 minutes from my apartment. We've gotten basically no rain, so that turf is pretty quick, but 46-2 is definitely not a time. Obviously, you see the Bullet 1 of 61 out there.
No, I didn't know he was capable of running that fast.
So obviously that's a good sign. Also gets first time Lasix as well. So and Micah hops aboard, which should install a little bit of confidence. And you mentioned Herb Street, who's going to be the favorite. I mean, lost by 23 3/4 at Gulfstream Park for Brad earlier the day after Christmas. And the fact that they're again justify of a street boss and drop him for 17.5. that it's about every single red flag in the old book, Tony, as they say. So again, I think we have a very, very good shot in this race.
Yeah, I mean, if I was worried about someone in here, it might be the one who showed some talent as in its first couple of races against Florida Breds. They got a little ambitious with the stake the last time, but now drops back in, now drops all the way down to the maiden 17.5. This would probably be the horse I'm concerned about. But this horse also ran 2 really good races to start its career and then has been a complete no-show in the last 3.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, your guess is good as mine if this horse shows up with the class drop. But like I said, if Buck runs the race he ran last time, it should put us right there. And hopefully in his third start and second time going 2 turns, there'll be some improvement.
I completely agree. And I will actually be there, hopefully, knock on wood. And if you guys are out there, would love to, again, meet all the partners, and hopefully we can get a nice winner's circle picture to go along with what's to come on Saturday, Tony, which is 2 horses of ours. As I mentioned, basically the top 2 of the 3 in the entire stable are running for what turned out to be a very, very nice race out at Fairgrounds. It's the Colonel E.R. Bradley Stakes, guys. $100,000, mile and a 16th on the turf for older males. This is race 11 at Fairgrounds on Saturday, July 17th, and you can see the post time on the screen right now. Or January, why did I say July? Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, not July, that's for sure. At 5 p.m. Central Time on January 17th. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. Field 11, you'll see our 2 boys in there. Number 6, Vote No. Paco hops back aboard after winning on him in Delaware. 12-1 on the morning line. Otago draws all the way outside. Again, it seems like Axel Concepcion hops aboard after his win for us at Monmouth. So we're getting 2 stakes winning jockeys on both horses, respectively, back on to them for this race too.
Yeah, and obviously drawing the 11 out of 11 is probably not the ideal draw for Otago, but I would rather Otago draw that spot than Vote No, considering Otago's probably going to drop out the back and run as a big closer with the long stretch there. Vote No, I would think, would be more tactical in here and be a little bit closer. Although when I looked at the race, I thought there was a decent amount of speed. Mm-hmm. So I would expect Vote No to be kind of ideally the same trip Paco got on him at Delaware, where he sat in the middle of the pack and kind of was right there in striking range as they turned for home, where Otago's going to be looking to come from out of it. Obviously, the pace projector doesn't know what to do with Vote No after he was on the lead, setting wicked fast fractions in the Sword Dancer, and then ran from out of it in the Kentucky Downs race. So I wouldn't worry about the 6 in the back at the start. But yeah, I think for Vote No, this represents a class drop. He's been running in all grade 1s and grade 2s. You're not going to see an El Cordobles or a redistricting in here, even though it did draw a good field. There's still no horses in the same kind of class that Vote No has been running against. I would kind of put this field pretty much up against the race he ran in Delaware.
Yes.
And this also will be a cutback in distance for Vote, where we kind of found the success marathoning last year. This one race only being at a mile and 16th is much shorter from him, but I would put the Indiana race he ran for us first off the claim right up there with any of the races he ran for us last year. And that race was only at a mile. So the distance doesn't bother me. The post doesn't bother me. Having Paco back on, I think, is good. And the only thing with him is off the layoff. Hopefully he's ready to fire. But if he's not, that leaves us with Otago, who I think is criminally underrated coming into here. It's almost like when we ran Judy's Way against Tell Me on a Sunday a bunch in Indiana, where Tell Me on a Sunday was always shorter. And I always kind of felt that Judy's Way was the better of the 2. I wouldn't go as far as saying Otago is the better of the 2, but just kind of when you give up on Otago is usually when he runs a big race. That Monmouth race last year or the stakes win kind of came out of nowhere. He was 12-1 that day. Even that Laurel race from Derby Day last year, that was a stakes level race that he ran the really good second to Data Man. He did that as a huge price. He's just kind of a horse that's criminally dismissed at the wagering windows, and every once in a while he pops up for a big one. So if we get the right pace set up and Axel can get a good trip, I think Otago fits in here as well.
I agree, and that's the thing. Oh, here, Tony, you're echoing a little bit. Hold on, I'm going to mute you while I talk. I don't know what happened. Something happened, obviously, but I agree with you completely. He might be maybe a little slow, at least on numbers, but to win this race. However, again, when you write him off is kind of when he runs. Last time, again, and the Prairie Bayou at Turfway, it was a complete try on the synthetic. We actually didn't even know how he would take to the synthetic. He liked it in the mornings. We thought we'd take a chance. Didn't end up working out too well, but now comes back on the turf, which is definitely his preferred of the two surfaces. I think that goes without question. And again, if he runs back to those 92s, 93s, easily puts him in the mix. And especially if we get that pace scenario that Timeform mentioned, it should be pretty quick up front. And that means Otago will be running late. So, Tony, I completely agree with you. I mean, there's a lot of other really nice horses in here that I feel like this drew probably a graded stakes level field almost. I mean, you got Capuna who ran a 98 two back, 93. That's 3-1. Sandpipes, 12-1. Also a nice horse, ran a nice one last time. I'd rather be blessed. One at Fairgrounds basically for the progression race from this, which is the Bobby Dilberto Memorial. Laganos, who popped a 104 at Kentucky Downs. Cameo Performance, who popped a really nice race at Kentucky Downs. I mean, you can just scroll through. Theismann's a nice horse. Reagan's Wit for Cherie looks a little slow, but she was certainly well meant last year. Or he, excuse me. I always say she for her because it's Reagan, which I believe is Cherie's daughter, if I'm not mistaken. And Gigante is another, again, listed stake winner and a graded stake placed, lost to I'd Rather Be Blessed. So lots and lots of very good talent in this field, Tony. But both the boys, Votno and Otago, they fit exactly with the group, and we're very excited to see how they run on Saturday.
Yeah, and to your point, Sandpipes is one of those that finished right there in the previous stake there, and his two-back race, he finished fourth in a race. Otago finished second. So,
right.
I think on the good day, Otago fits right in there with these, and Votno, if he's ready to fire off the layoff, this is a nice field, but like I said, it's not the kind of field that he faced in the Sword Dancer or the United Nations.
I completely agree. It's definitely a class drop for him. Hopefully he's ready off the layoff. He's been working steady. Hasn't missed a work really in the last 5-6 weeks. So working very much up to this. This is what Kelsey had in mind the whole time. So that's always something I love to see when a horse trains up to a spot that was exactly meant for them. Tony, there's a lot of other nice races as well, including the Road to the Kentucky Derby race, which is the Grade 3 Lecomte Stakes. I know there's a couple you're looking for in there, and also one earlier looking for. So let's go through a quick couple of best bets from you, starting with the Grade 3 Lecomte, and then you can go into, I believe, race 5 is your big opinion on the day.
Yeah, so the Lecomte, I thought was very spread. That race looks pretty tough to me. Before we got on, you made some points about the 7 that I can't deny that. I think that's 7. But I'll leave that one for you to talk about. I will probably on top go with Crown the Buckeye, the number 4 or the number 3 horse for Mike Maker. The Ohio bred, you usually don't see Ohio breds running at this kind of level, but you also usually don't see Ohio breds bringing $250,000 at sales. Correct. Which kind of represents how high the sales market is right now. But clearly they like this horse from the beginning. This horse's first race was in a stakes race, in an Ohio bred stakes race, and ran second, came back with 2 rompings of Ohio breds, one sprinting, then another one going long, and then did all the hard work in the Gun Runner in its first time against Open Company, and just got nipped by Chip Hondo, who I think is one of the ones to beat in here. And I wouldn't say this horse is a Derby contender per se. I really would hesitate about the Yopon going 1.25 miles on the first Saturday of May. But you can see sprinty types win these kind of prep races. Obviously, right below is the NBS. as our partners on Vote No and Otago. So obviously, I'd like to see a lot of good connections here. I'd like to see Kelsey run big. I'd like to see MBS run big. And then the rider is Jareth Loveberry, who is a good friend of mine. And altogether, that'll be a horse I'm rooting for in that race. And then just below that, in the 5-horse, Golden Tempo is the other one I'm looking at. Carumba was a really good race mare for Shug McGahee. And then she was a little bit of a miler. And then you the bred back to Curlin to give the distance. I think this horse, pedigree wise, has the kind of stuff you're looking for and ran a very big race on debut sprinting. I usually don't love sprinters or horses coming out of sprinting races where they had to close going into 2 turns. I feel like that's a trap a lot of the time. But with the Curlin on the bottom or on the top, this horse should be able to get the distance. And with Sherry DeVoe, obviously one of the hottest trainers in the country, second time out, this horse makes a lot of sense to me.
I completely agree with you. I like that horse as well. You mentioned the 7. The 11 is the horse Chip Honcho, who I have in second off of the last race, the Gun Runner. Ran super well, got a really easy trip that day, but that was the first time going 2 turns and passed it very, very nicely. So willing to give him a second chance, even though there looks to be a lot of speed in this race as well. Of course, Paco back aboard there. Mesquite is a horse Tony kind of hinted that I was a fan of, but I've been waiting for this horse to run back after that Churchill Downs race. The only negative I have about Mesquite is he was actually meant to be in a race at Fairgrounds before and scratched out. I don't remember if it was for weather or something like that, but Mesquite did scratch out. So this isn't the number 1 plan. You can actually see the gap in the works from December 11th to January 2nd, but 49-1 and 48-1. This horse looks the part, looks ready to go, and you get the best rider in the entire country in Flavian Pratt. So Mesquite, even though Jose chooses the 5, I still really do like Mesquite, but completely do respect Golden Tempo for everything that you said. So the Lecomte is a very, very nice addition. Hopefully it continues that way down in New Orleans as we get nearer to the first Saturday in May. Mesquite's probably my best bet of the entire day, Donnie, but I know you have one other race on your eye before we end the video newsletter.
Yeah, so the 5th race, as I just kind of glanced through this card as we were preparing for this, a horse, the number 2, Tap to Open, jumped out at me on the pedigree. I'm more of a pedigree type player. And the I'll Take Charge, who is out of her mother was Take Charge Lady, who's one of the legendary broodmares of probably the last 20 years. She had, besides I'll Take Charge, she had Charge It, so this is a sibling to Charge It.
Yeah, correct.
But Take Charge Lady was the mother of Take Charge Indy. She was the mother of Will Take Charge. So this is a royally bred filly coming out of Mandy Pope's.
This is a full Tony to Charge It as well. So
yeah, and Charge It was a horse that when I saw him at Florida on the Florida Derby day, he was one that looked the Derby part, even though he didn't end up winning the Derby. I think that was a little too much too soon for him. But now he looks poised to be one of the hottest first-year stallions coming out in the next 2 years. But when Whisper Hill Farm shows up with one of these nice first-time starters, you have to pay attention. And then the other thing I had noticed was this horse has been working steady at Payson Park in Florida. And them shipping, I think that they know this horse is ready to run right now, and they're kind of up against it time-wise to make a run to get this horse into the Kentucky Oaks. So I think they saw the opportunity to run on the big card. Let's get this horse to Fairgrounds, see if it likes Fairgrounds. And if it runs well, I wouldn't be surprised to see Tap to Open back in one of the Fairgrounds preps next month for the Oaks.
I completely agree with you. I really, really like this horse. Not only for everything you mentioned about the works, but the breeding. I mean, this horse is a full to Charge It. Whisper Hill, especially, and obviously Charge It was for Whisper Hill. Yep. They're trying to replicate that success with Tap to Open, and you get Irad aboard. I mean, and Brad Cox is winning 41%, basically like he does everywhere nowadays. Mm-hmm. But Irad choosing this horse, obviously shipping up from Gulfstream Park, all signs seem to look on go for Tap to Open. So I definitely do agree with you, Tony, on that one. Well, thank you guys all so much for watching this edition of the Crownsway Video Newsletter. We greatly appreciate it. I know this was a longer one, but we had a bunch of updates around the stable, but also two different very nice Crownsway races coming up this weekend. We hope you all can, if you can get out there, we wish you guys good luck. And of course, Tony, there's pin hooking, there's just lots of stuff going on around the Crownsway Rakes as we head into 2026.
Yeah, and next month we'll look to announce what we're doing as the pin hooking. Tyler is working hard right now on finishing our 2025 book, so I can get that over to our tax accountant and get it out early for everyone. Like, I know everyone likes to be able to file their taxes as early as possible. And so in the bookkeeping side, having Tyler come back on for us temporarily to help us with that is very big for just my sanity. The bookkeeping is not something I do. And then also welcoming you, Kyle, to the team officially as our new, what we decide, director of communications.
Media was what I was given. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm very, I've been around Crownsway now for almost 5 years now, which is actually insane to me if I'm saying it out loud. But yeah, no, obviously I'm very excited to get going, obviously, with the video newsletters and also running social media and everything like that. So very excited to be a part of the team, Tony. And as we continue on for 2026, lots of opportunities for us, hopefully, coming up in the near future. But to everyone out there, thank you guys all so much for watching this edition of the Crownsway Video Newsletter. And good luck to all the partners out there, both for Bucks Howell race on Thursday and for Otago and Vote No's race on Saturday. And however you play those races, good luck to all the partners and crush your bets.